What's up, guys? This is Matador coming at you with another talent video for Classic World of Warcraft, which is a game coming out in summer of 2019 based off the original vanilla WoW back in 2004. Today we're going to talk about the Druid class, and we're going to talk specifically about the balance talents if you were to try to raid as balance, which I don't suggest, or the restoration talents, which is the primary raiding spec for all level 60 druids. So you might already know this, balanced druids are not exactly a class that people are going to be flocking to in classic WoW. In vanilla, they were a very niche class. You could get away with PvPing with Moonfire spam, or you could knock out some really tough elites out in the world as long as they could be rooted and controlled, especially if they could be stunned with Starfire. But it wasn't viable in a raid setting, and it never will be unless they do some amazing things to innervate or MP5, which they're likely not going to because everyone wants Classic to be just like vanilla. But that said, we can at least look at what the talents might be if balance was to be a respectable spec, or if you just want to play around with it. Who knows? Maybe in a 10-man or 5-man content, it could be acceptable, but these videos are structured for raiding environments, so I'm considering those. First of all, with balance, you are all about your casting abilities, so that means Wrath, Moonfire, and Starfire. For the most part, Starfire and Moonfire didn't really have much of a difference except if you talented into them. Starfire has a longer cast and does a little more damage, but there's really no reason to ever use it over Wrath on a boss environment. If you're out in the world and you are fighting mobs and you take this stun talent, it makes a lot of sense to use Starfire so that you can stun the target before it gets to you. But again, we're talking about raids. So the first 5 talents, no matter what, are going into reducing the cast time of Wrath by half a second. The next 5 talents are going to go into improved Moonfire, so you can get additional damage and critical strike from Moonfire. Now, it's going to be an argument with your raid group whether or not you can even use Moonfire in a raid, because there is a 16-slot debuff maximum on bosses, which means there's going to be people that are bringing much more heavy-hitting debuffs or much more important debuffs to keep on the boss so that it doesn't wipe your raid and you can do legitimate damage. But again, if you're in a 10-man or 5-man environment, you're probably going to be able to keep Moonfire up. 40-man, not so much unless people are just riding the Moonkin train. The next points don't particularly matter, but I recommend that you put 2 points in range because you want to be able to stand as far back as possible with the other casters, so you're not that lone Moonkin out in the 30-yard range instead of the 40-yard range. The next 3 points, I'm just going to suggest you put it in improved Thorns, because that's going to help the raid more than anything. You can be the person that keeps Thorns on the main tank. You're going to slam all 5 points into Vengeance. This increases crit strike chance bonus by 100%. That is amazing. If you're going to be out soloing, I've said before, improved Starfire would be convenient, but not really in a raid setting. You can't stun a boss. You're going to put 1 point in Nature's Grace, which allows your cast time to be reduced anytime you get a critical. You're going to put 3 points in the reduced mana cost, because again, your mana pool is going to be small and it is not going to be rejuvenating very easily because your MP5 is going to be pretty low. So you're going to be mana starved constantly. So you're going to have to watch your mana and bring a lot of mana pots to the raid. Now we need to get down here to Moon Fury, and we only need 1 talent point to do so. So in that case, I recommend throwing it into Nature's Grasp. That way, if you're out and about in the world, you can just throw up Nature's Grasp and run away from things. We're going to put all 5 points in Moon Fury because that increases the damage done by Starfire, Moonfire, and Wrath by 10%. And of course, we have got to go Boomkin Form, or as we said in vanilla, Oomkin Form, OOM for out of mana. This increases your armor contribution, makes you immune to polymorph, and increases spell critical chance by 3%. It also increases all party members, meaning your group members, chance to crit by 3%. So you're going to be in a group with all spellcasters. You've got 20 points left. Now the smart thing to do is to move over to the Restoration tree and try to put them in points that will give you more mana. So you're going to put 5 points in Improved Mark of the Wild. That allows you to put the highest rank Mark of the Wild on your fellow raid members, and Mark of the Wild is a big reason to bring a druid in the first place, because there weren't a lot of druid players in vanilla, maybe not in classic. The next 5 points literally don't matter, nothing is helpful. The only thing that I'm going to do is put 5 in Nature's Focus, because in case I need to heal myself, drop out of Moon Control, heal myself, I have a chance to do that without mobs beating me to death when I'm playing solo. A big must-have is Insect Swarm. This is another dot that is very important to your rotation, but again, now you're talking about having 2 debuffs on the boss. Your raid is probably not going to be okay with that, but this is pro in PvP because it decreases the target's chance to hit by 2%, which is huge, huge. And it does nature damage over time. You're going to put 3 points in Reflection, which allows 15% of your mana regeneration to continue while casting. This is huge for that MP5. Now you're left with 6 points, of which you have nothing really to do with, and so it's entirely up to you how you want to play this. Put the last 6 points wherever you want. Now we're going to talk about Restoration. There's really one main spec in Restoration, but the further you get along, the more likely you're likely to try out a hybrid spec between Balance and Restoration, and we'll talk about that one second. So firstly, the all-in Restoration spec. This is fairly simple. You just slam all your points into Restoration because there's nothing else useful in any of the other talent trees. So let's do it. 5 points in Improved Mark of the Wild, because Mark of the Wild is a big reason you were brought to the raid in the first place. It's for that extra buff on the entire raid. Your main casting ability is Healing Touch when you're in a raid environment. You're not going to be casting Regrowth because you will die of mana starvation. And you're not going to be casting Rejuve because other healers are going to be sniping those heals that just have a little bit to go. And if you're using Rejuve at max rank, you're going to run out of mana. If you're using it at lower rank, then what's the point? So you're not even going to be using it. The main Druid would likely be rolling Rejuves on the main tank, but since only one Rejuve can be active on any person at any given time, it's always going to be that main Druid. So if you've got 5 Druids and they're all trying to throw a Rejuve up on the same guy, it's not going to work. Only one will work, and only the strongest one. So that Druid is likely to throw 3 points in Improved Rejuvenation for that purpose. But for the most part, all other Druids are going to be rolling with Healing Touch, and specifically rank 4 Healing Touch because it is the most mana saving use of Healing Touch. Next, you're going to put 3 points in Reflection because this allows 15% of your mana regeneration to continue while casting, which is important to saving your mana. You're going to put 1 point in Insect Swarm, which you'll never use except out in the solo environment. The only reason you take it is to get down to the next row of Gift of Nature. But now we're in a situation where we have to put more points in to get down to the next row. So in this case, I am going to choose to go with Nature's Focus, which reduces the chance to get interrupted in case you're hit with an AoE ability or somehow you pull aggro. And that takes us down to Tranquil Spirit, which reduces the mana cost of Healing Touch by 10%, and Tranquility, which is important. You'll use Tranquility, but it only affects your party members, so it's not exactly life-saving in a raid environment that much. You're going to slam 1 point into Nature's Swiftness. Nature's Swiftness and max rank Healing Touch go together very well because this is the Oh She button, right? Your tank's about to die, Nature's Swiftness, pop off max rank Healing Touch, they get 75% of their health back. You're going to put the 5 points in Gift of Nature because this increases all of your healing spells by 10%. You can't beat that. It's a flat increase. You're also going to put 5 points in increasing the crit strike chance of regrowth. You're not going to be using regrowth very regularly, but we're doing the all-in spec, and where else are you going to put these points? So we're throwing it in regrowth. You're also going to put 1 point in Swift Mend, which is another oh my god moment ability that has a 15-second cooldown but uses a significant cost of mana. It also consumes a rejuvenation or regrowth effect on the target, which means you have to have regrowth or rejuvenation on the target for it to work. Now, we're going to assume that you are, again, the main druid, since you're going all in on the druid talent tree here, or sorry, on the resto talent tree. So we will put those 3 points in improved rejuvenation, and let's say you're the one rolling rejuves on the main tank. Then the rest of the points you can really put wherever you want. I'm going to go ahead and finish up Nature's Focus, and I'm going to put 5 points in Subtlety to reduce the threat generated by healing spells so I do not pull aggro. I'm also going to put 2 points in Improved Tranquility, because if you're doing 5-man content and you hit Tranquility when a big group pulls because you are trying to save people before anything crazy happens, you're going to pull aggro immediately and die. So this is a really helpful talent, particularly for 5-man content, not so much for raiding. Then you're left with 5 points left over. Again, it doesn't matter where you put them. I'm going to go over to the balance tree and put them in Nature's Grasp for when I'm out in the world and someone comes up on me trying to gank me, or some mob comes after me that I was not expecting. I want to be able to root them with 100% chance so that I can escape. And that is the all-in resto spec. Now, let's reset this and check out what resto spec would be like with a hybrid to include 20 points in balance. So first of all, we'll start on the balance side to make sure that we get all the way as far as we need, which really, this is the Nature's Grace and Moonglow spec. You need to get down to this rank. Largely, none of these talents matter, right? This first area doesn't matter. You can do what you want. Your sole goal is to get down here to these talents. Really, again, this is just for soloing stuff. You might throw something in on a boss, but it's not going to be your main role. So then we're going to put 1 point in Nature's Grace, which makes your spell crits reduce cast time by half a second, and the 3 points in Moonglow, which reduces the mana cost of a lot of your spells by 9%, including healing spells. So it's 24 in balance, and we're going to move over and put the other points in Restoration. So again, just like the first time, we're going to throw 5 points in Improved Mark of the Wild. It's an important buff to bring with you. We're going to throw 5 points in Improved Healing Touch, because again, you're going to be focused on casting only Healing Touch, particularly rank 4 Healing Touch. And since you're going to be spamming criticals, you're going to be casting even faster. You're going to put 3 points in Reflection to allow 15% of your MP5 to continue. You're going to throw Insect Swarm up there. It's good for soloing, again, with Wrath and Moonfire and all that, but mainly it's just to get to Gift of Nature. And now we're in a situation again where we need another point to get down to Tranquil Spirit. So again, I'm just going to throw 1 point in Nature's Focus because that avoids interruption while you're casting healing spells. I'm going to put the next 5 in Tranquil Spirit because that reduces the mana cost of your Healing Touch even further. And then 5 points in Gift of Nature, which increases all your healing by 10%. Then we're going to put 1 point in Nature Swiftness for that oh crap moment where you've got a Nature Swiftness full rank Healing Touch to main tank. And then you've got 1 point left. I'm probably just going to take the 1 point over in the balance tree for Nature's Grasp. Thanks so much for joining me here today. If you appreciated this video, please leave a like or a subscribe or a comment down below. Also, please feel free to check out all the Wowhead guides and other sites online that you can find for best in slot items, for rotations, and even trying out alternative specs.